G'day guys, and welcome to another episode of Paul's Garage. This will be episode 9 of Project EH. We're going to pull the gearbox out. I've been in contact with a fellow who's a bit of a guru on these gearboxes down near Campbelltown in New South Wales, who's going to repair the oil leaks for me. And generally have a bit of a look through the gearbox. I'm also waiting on a box of parts from Resto Country to do the other 3 brake wheel cylinders. So beautiful mid-November day here in the Central West. It's more like about July. It's been terrible for the last week, so I haven't spent much time over here in the shed. I've been keeping warm. Anyhow, so we'll get the car up on the hoist and we'll get going pulling the gearbox out. This will start with draining the box. That drain plug was awful loose. At least I guess with the oil out of it, it won't leak anymore. Shaft. The others will seem to be okay. Now I'm just going to take this cross member out. I've put my stand here to hold the back of the gearbox so that I can take the cross member out. Once I got that cross member out, I can get the speedo cable out, but once again found more loose bolts. The bolts holding this cross member on are all loose. And for some reason this jolly thing doesn't want to work anymore, which is a real nuisance. You just go on that side, on there. I'll take this last bolt out. Okay, yep. You want some rubber gloves? Alright, so then what we'll do, I'll take this last bolt out, then we'll remove this stand, right, and yeah, probably put your hand under there and a hand up here somewhere, right? Yep. I'll take the end, maybe you hold it under there, yep, or something like that, and we just up and down and until it shakes loose and wiggle it back. Yep. Yep. You had it for a second there. Yeah, so hang on. That came down to it. Right. Okay. Take that away. Trip over it. second.
Yep.
Just give it to me. I got it. Got it? Yeah, it's not heavy. Thank goodness. I'll just put it out here so it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the clutch off, then I'm going to take the flywheel off. I was fully expecting these bolts to be loose, you know. Try with the rail gun. Interested to see what this clutch is like. Engine turns over rather freely, which makes me think. Can you, John? You just come here. You grab the clutch, two hands, one there, one there. Just the clutch, just in there.
Oh, just in there?
Just in there, just in there, that's the flywheel. That's not too bad actually. Oh yeah, it's not so good. It can only go on one way. Like the way the bolts are.
Yep.
Oh! There we go. On flywheel. So now that we've got the gearbox out and the clutch and flywheel off, just waiting for the clutch to come in and the flywheel to be machined. We've already taken that downtown. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start on the other three wheel cylinders, get them all done, replaced and bled up. So we'll go and hit the back brakes. All right, so what I'm going to do now is remove and replace this wheel cylinder. I've already done the other side, so that when I do this side, you'll all think, oh, he knows what he's doing. The back ones are actually are very, very simple to do. But what I've done is I've removed the brake line that comes up into that because it was looking a bit dodgy, so I've taken it down to have a new one made. So what you've got to do first is you've got to remove the bleed nipple, then you've got to remove the brake line so that you can get all this out. But what I have done, since the last time I did brakes, I did the front left, I've got to do the front right, I've got all the bits to do that. I went out and bought a brake kit for drum brakes after I cut myself open and ended up getting an infection and having to go on to some antibiotics and everything just because of not having the correct tools. So I just bought a set on eBay. I'll give you a look at them in a minute. And over here behind me, if you can see somewhere there, I got my new lights. So making things a little bit easy for myself. So I'll give you a look at that kit, and then we'll crack on and do the brake wheel cylinder on this side. So this is the kit that I bought. You've got the brake spring pliers. These two here are for undoing the spring clamps. A couple of brake adjusters. This is for taking the springs off. This one's for putting the springs back on, and that's just another little adjuster. What I have found is you don't really need all this stuff. There's only 3 tools in there you need, which you can buy with just buying one of these. And on the end of the handles, it's got the bit here to put the springs back on, and it's got that other bit there to take the springs off. So you don't actually need to buy this whole kit. This kit was about $50, and if you buy just the spring tool with the attachments on the back, it's about $20. So there's a little bit of advice for you. If you're doing brakes and you want the tools, just buy the pliers with the bits on the back. So we'll pull the springs off first. I don't know if I'm going to be in the way of what's going on there. I just lay everything down the way it all came off. As you can see, it's a lot easier to take them off using that tool. So, like I said, the lead nipple's already off the back, the brake line's already off the back of this cylinder. So there's a couple of, what's that, 11mm. It's probably not 11mm, it's probably some imperial size, but the 11mm fits. And that's pretty much ready to fall off. So what I do here now, leave the handbrake mechanism and everything on there, and just let it all come down. Just going to let it hang there. That's the handbrake mechanism. So I'm just going to leave that sitting in there to make it easy for me to put it back on. Take these two little bolts out. So much for leaving that there. Once that's out, you can just pull it to the side of the axle and it pops out. So that's that one. So what I'll do is I'll just take these two little pins out, and I'll clean them up and put them back into the new one. And then what I might do is I might actually pull this apart. So you can have a look inside it, and I'll clean it all up, lubricate it with a bit of brake fluid, and just basically put it back together in the box and put it in with all my spares. So we'll go and fix these up and bring the other one back. So here's the new wheel cylinder. It's just a straight replacement. You will have to take that bleed nipple out to put the brake line back in it. At the moment I'm just going to leave them as they are because I don't have a brake line. It's down at the brake place being rebuilt. And it's just a matter really of sliding that back in. I think I will have to take that bleed nipple off though to get it in. I'll put that nipple back in, just keep the dust and crap out of it until I get that brake line back tomorrow. Put it in loose so I can take it out. So what I did with these little actuator arms is I just cleaned them up on the wire wheel on the bench grinder, get all the crap off them. Okay. We've still got the other half of that. So this is why I did the other side first, so you'd think I knew what I was doing, but not necessarily so. I know there's one fella out there who I know quite well who will be having a bit of a giggle right now. Hey Phil. After I drop everything. Alright, so after I managed to drop everything, let's put these pins in to hold everything where it should be, roughly. The adjuster back in. Alright, so it works quite well to get those springs back on. Oh, look at that. Simple. yeah, quite simple. Now the adjuster. Which probably won't be so simple. And that's it, all back together. I've just adjusted the brakes. You want them so that they're just dragging a little bit. These probably that'll be too much probably. That's just nice. So that's the both rear drums almost finished. I've just got to put that new brake line on there. It's funny how I practiced on the other side before I filmed this, and nothing went wrong on the other side. It just came apart and went back together. Didn't drop anything. Came over here. Must be once the camera's on. Dropped everything. But anyway, as you saw, using those tools, it all went back together so much easier. I've just got the front right hand one to do now. I've got to pull that whole drum off the stub axle and take it down on the workbench. But what we'll do first is I'll take that other wheel cylinder down to the other shed, and we'll pull it apart and have a look at the mess inside it. So I've just brought this other wheel cylinder that I wanted to pull apart over to the other shed, where I've got a proper workbench and everything. So I'll just readjust the camera and point it onto the bench so that you can see what's going on. So this wheel cylinder is a PBR cylinder. Looks like it may have been replaced at some stage before. Whether you can see in there, it's a bit grubby, and there's a bit of rusty brown brake fluid in there. The other two that I've taken apart so far have been pretty grubby inside. It's just a matter of taking off the two dust caps. Yeah, you can see in there it's brown rusty brake fluid on that side, which would indicate to me that side has not been working too well. Now you can rebuild these, but for the sake of the few dollars what they cost, it's just not viable to do it. I'll just clean that muck out of there, and then I'm probably going to have to blow them out with a bit of compressed air. Well, got one side out. Goodness me, this is the worst one I've seen. So you've just got a little piston with a little rubber cap behind it that fits in very nicely, and a spring which holds the two apart, and of course the brake fluid comes in and pushes them either way to operate your brakes. So I managed to get one side out. So let's see how this other side comes out. We might need a little bit of gentle persuasion to get this other side out. Maybe more than a little bit of gentle persuasion.
too big. She's up in there. Well, obviously that brake was not working. That was really rusted in there. So and if I put my, you can't really make that out, but I clean my finger up a little bit. Yeah, it's not too dirty, and I run it around the inside of this. Look at that. So this wheel cylinder was completely seized, and of course that happens with brake fluid, not changing your brake fluid sitting around for a long time. The your normal brake fluid will attract moisture, so you do get moisture, water mixing with your brake fluid. That's why you should change your brake fluid, you know, every couple of years at least. So anyway, I'll chuck that in the parts washer, and I'll clean it all up, and I'll give it a little light hone, clean everything up, and I'll put it in with the rest of my spares. It'll never ever get used again, I wouldn't imagine, but you never ever know. So I've just replaced this wheel cylinder here. This is the last one I have to do on the right hand side front. I wasn't going to show anything with that, but what I thought I might just tell you while I'm putting it back together was that wheel cylinder was that rusted up. I couldn't get it apart. I got one side out and I couldn't get the other side out. So in essence, this car was roadworthy in South Australia when I bought it. It was registered. It couldn't have had any brakes. I mean, I drove it from up the road down to here, you know, 1.5 kilometres. It stopped when I got down here and put it in the shed. But the brake lines were, I mean, I couldn't even blow compressed air through some of them, especially not to the back ones. The wheel cylinders, at least one side of each wheel cylinder was rusted shut and not working. All I can say is, if you buy a car, whether it be disc brakes or drum brakes, and it's a bit of a project, or you think the brakes might be okay, they ain't. This was, as I'm going through this car and fixing things up and everything, it's frightening. It's just to think of the condition that this car was in when the previous owner was driving it around. The brakes must have been working at about maybe 30%, 20%. Half the bolts in the front end were loose, half the bolts holding the gearbox in were loose. The condition of the ball joints and the tie rod ends and everything else, it was a death trap, it really was, and it was an accident waiting to happen. So all I can say is, if you're buying an older car and you think, you know, even if the seller says to you, oh yeah, it's a drive away car, hop in it and drive it, don't believe it. You need to go over everything systematically and thoroughly. I'm absolutely appalled at the suspension, brakes, mechanical condition that this car was in. Absolutely appalling. And how anybody drove it safely is beyond me. Anyway, that's enough of a rant. Check your brakes, replace those wheel cylinders, go and do it now. Okay guys, well that's it for this episode. We've got the brakes all working 100% now, which I'm pretty happy about. Now I have already the other day taken the gearbox down to Sydney, and the fella's going to remove what he calls the hat where the linkages go in. He's going to have that machined and re-sleeved
new O-rings, and he'll put gaskets and seals all through that gearbox. So hopefully that'll be done soon. So hopefully I will get my carburetor back soon. It's been gone for a bit over a month, so hopefully that'll come back soon. I have got a new clutch already, and I've had the flywheel machined. So I'm assuming next video we will be putting the flywheel, clutch and gearbox and all the drivetrain back together. I also, while I was at it with doing the brakes, I put all new fluid through the clutch, through to the slave cylinder. So, you know, just wanting to get rid of all that old hydraulic fluid. As I said, it attracts water and needs to be got rid of. Also, these videos that I put out, I just have to say that they're my journey with my cars videos. They're not a how-to. A lot of you blokes that know more than me will pick up on any mistakes that I make or do things incorrectly. But at the end of the day, I get where I need to be. So, you know, yeah, just to say it's they're not a how-to, more of just my journey on getting these cars roadworthy and how I want them. One last thing before we go, my daughter has started a small online shop where she sells handbags, jewellery, you know, a few t-shirts, stuff like that. So if you're looking for a Christmas present or a birthday present or something for one of your loved ones, the address is www.ringersandrodeos. It should be appearing right here. .com.au. So drop in, have a look. Like I said, if you're looking for a gift, you know, sort of jump in there and help her out. That'll be good, guys. That's it for this episode. Like, share, subscribe, do what you need to do. Enjoy life, enjoy what you're doing, keep working on your cars, and we'll see you next time.